Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today just I was going through the ahadith of Imam Sadiq and I came across this one which was very beautiful, and I thought I would share this hadith with you honestly, and then you can tell me if this is the best hadith you've ever heard or not. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, when two Muslims see each other or come across each other, right? So two people, each of my fingers is a person, subhanAllah. When two Muslims see each other, if you want to know who's better, which one's better? Two Muslims seeing each other, which one's better? Imam says, فَأَفْضَلُهُمَا أَشَدَّهُمَا حُبًّا لِصَاحِبِهِ. The one who's got more love inside them for the other one is the better of the two. Isn't that so beautiful? So in any relation, of course there are so many factors, but Imam is saying at least very important factors. When two people meet each other, the one who has more love for the other one is actually the better of the two. And I just thought this is so beautiful, so beautiful. And actually that's one of the things which is so beautiful, because you know, a mistake, whichever Muslim keeps social distancing is better. Well, that's definitely true as well, but it's a skill to keep social distancing and still have love for the other one. And you know, this hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam actually has a very deep point in it. I'll mention the deep point, but before that I want to say salam to everyone who's joined us. Sister Zainab, Brother Mohsen, Sister Noor Z14, Sister Zahra Samji, Sister Adila. Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Thank you so much for coming. How are you feeling? How is life treating you? How are you treating life? How are you enjoying the beautiful life that you are? Lovely. Baba Ali Arab Mahali. Wow, what a beautiful username. My grandfather was actually called Baba Ali. I mean, his name was Ali, but one of the grandchildren started calling him Baba Ali. That's everyone called him. Allah yarhamu. Lovely. Ali Reza Akbar. Alaykum salam. So yeah, so we're talking about Imam Sadiq's beautiful hadith. So Imam Sadiq said, when two people meet, the one who has more love for the other one is actually the better of the two. And I said there's a deep point here. And the deep point is this. In life, usually we make a mistake. And of course, that's because of the way the society and culture is. And we think love is what another person causes in us. Okay, please pay attention to this. This is a very deep and beautiful spiritual point actually. We think now, because of the way we live, that love is something that another person causes in us. Whereas when you look at what spiritual teachers say, and the reality, the core of love, and of course, I don't know if you've had, for example, a person in your family, like a grandma from those previous generations who are now really expired apparently. You see that love was not a quality that depended on who was in front of them. Love was something that was just ignited in their heart, right? And I had a grandma like that myself. It didn't matter who's in front of her. This person was so much full of love. My Mama Ngoli, my amazing grandmother who passed away, there was so much love inside that no matter who was in front of her, she would show love, right? And actually, when you look at our ad'iyah, the history of our imams, you see they were the same. They were the highest levels of this. Love for them was not something that depended on who they were talking to. It was just something they had. You know, one of the poets has mentioned the example of a sun, right? It said sun doesn't care who's in front of it. It gives light and warmth to everyone. And love is the same. Love is something within us. Now, unfortunately, we haven't unlocked the love we have inside. So when we see someone, we use them as a key to open our heart and to bring this love out. But as we grow spiritually, the love in our heart is always ready. So no matter who's in front of us, this love comes out. And so you see that in this hadith where Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that when two people meet, the one who's got more love for the other one is the better of the two. There's actually a very beautiful spiritual point behind it. And that is that in one of the levels of spiritual growth, you come to this point where you no longer need an excuse or someone outside to trigger and bring love out of you. Love is always pouring out of you. And that's where they say that also you reach a level where even when you're on your own, so much love is coming from within you, from the core of your being, that you always feel this love and connection. And so, so I read this hadith and I was like, subhanAllah, that's beautiful, let me share it. And the A'imma themselves were maybe the best examples of this themselves. No matter who was in front of them, even if someone was in front of them who was swearing at them. You've heard probably so many of these stories. It happened to Imam Hassan, to Imam Sajjad, to Imam Kazim, right? A person would come, even swear at the Imam, swear at Imam's mother, the worst thing he could say, even attack the Imam, but all the Imam showed was love, right? Like you must have heard that story. A person comes and says, you're this, you're that, blah, 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 blah. And all Imam says to this person is like, are you a stranger here? Do you need help? Right? You see, it doesn't matter who's in front of them. Love comes from within. So no matter who's in front, love is coming. And this is very beautiful. You know, when we get, inshallah, to this stage where we unlock the source of love within us. Anyway, I have read this hadith. I wanted to share it with you. And also, actually, let me say the last point, and then if anyone has a question, a point, etc., I'm at your service. God's love is like that. And this is a very important point to realize. God's love, God loves because God is the source of love, right? And a lot of the time, we may think that, okay, you know, I prayed, or I paid, I don't know, 50 pounds to sadaqah, so now God may love me. And then sometimes, you know, that's people's idea. They think they did something and now God will love them. And this is wrong, obviously, because God's love is unconditional. And it also leads to another problem. As soon as they make a mistake, they're like, oh, is God going to stop loving me? You know, the amount of times I get this question. I committed this sin, I made a mistake, will God stop loving me? Or about others. It's interesting. Some people ask the question about others. Like, what about the people who commit sins? Does God still love them? I'm like, of course. Do you think our actions create God's love? No, God's love is always there. God's love is unconditional. It's not because of the 2 times we prayed that God's love us. No, we have to be thankful that God even helped us pray. So God's love is unconditional. He is the source of love. Nothing we do trigger it. Of course, what we can do in life is to live in a way that we feel more of that love. But nothing we do will change God. God is not changeable, right? So God's love is always there. God's love is unconditional. Our prayers don't make God love us more. Our prayers help us feel God love more, right? Everything changes within us. There's no change on the side of God. What is the worst sin? Well, in the hadith, they say despair in God's love. It's a very beautiful point. And so I just felt, you know, this hadith in Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that he said when two Muslims see each other, the one who's got more love for the other one is the better of the two. You see, all of these points are hidden inside it. The point that God's love is unconditional, the point that in part of your spiritual growth you will reach this level where you feel love inside. You don't need anyone else outside to unlock the love inside you. And you know, I don't know, guys, have you seen this photo? guys and gals, sisters and brothers, friends and enemies. I don't know if you've seen this. Sometimes when they want to, I don't know if this is even true or not, but it's a good example and I'm going to use it. Even if it's not true, it transfers the point. Sometimes I've heard that animals, when they're very young, in some places, for example, an elephant, I heard, it may not be true, I don't care, I'm just using it as an example. They said an elephant in some places, when it's small, with a rope, they tie the elephant, for example, to a small stick. And it's so small, it cannot take the stick out of the ground, so it stays there. And then they said sometimes, even when the elephant grows older and it's so strong, mashallah, beautiful, chubby, cute elephant, still it has this memory from its childhood that it cannot pull the stick out of the ground. So a little stick, which is by the time that elephant is, mashallah, a mature, adult, gentle elephant, the stick is nothing to that elephant. But because of that childhood memory, it still thinks that I have to stay here because of this stick. Now, why did I mention this? Because a lot of the times, what actually stops us from experiencing freedom is a mental block, not a block in reality. In the same way that the grown-up elephant can easily pull the stick out of the ground and go wherever it wants. I don't know where exactly the elephant wants to go. Does he need to meet someone or not? But wherever it wants to go, it can. The only thing it's stopping is the mental block, the idea that he thinks the stick is still strong enough to pull him. The same is with us and love. The way we have been taught about love is that you need another person to feel love. There has to be another person so that you can feel love. Whereas that is not true. Even when another person is there, where do you feel that love? You feel the love inside. So where is the source of love? It's you. You are the source of love. And even when there's another person there, all they do is that they unlock the love you have already inside you. In a way, you use them as a key to unlock your heart and the love pours out. But what you have to know is that there is actually no locks there. There is no lock. There is nothing to block your love to always be there, to always feel love. The only reason is that we've understood, unfortunately, we've misunderstood. We have learned wrong that love needs another person. And this is why, for example, we spoke in one of the days that that great poet says that you don't need to go outside and seek for love. Instead, go inside and remove all the blockages that you have made against love. And then you'll always feel love. You'll be connected to the source of all love, which is God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then they say that you reach a level where you're just sitting down and you feel all the love in the universe because you're connected to the source of love, which is God. All of this was in that hadith. If you don't believe me, why don't you believe me? All of this was in that hadith. Okay. How can you increase love for people who annoy you? It's not easy. I accept. It's not easy to develop compassion for people that hurt us. But there are methods. One of the methods we have... Well, okay, before talking about the method of how to develop love for people who annoy us, we need to know two things. First of all, that this is definitely a good thing, right? It's definitely important to be able to love everyone. And as I said, the ability to love everyone is a sign of spiritual growth, right? I said we have to reach a level where love pours out from us. And so it wouldn't make a difference who's in front of us. In the same way that the sun doesn't care who is benefiting from its light or warmth. It gives it to everyone. So love is not something you do for the other person, right? It's not like you're doing a favor to another person when you love them. Of course, it's a favor as well. But first and foremost, it's a quality within you, right? It's like generosity. It's like kindness, right? It's like, for example, trying to be just. You don't stop being just when the person in front of you is wrong, right? I mentioned that in one of the revival of the hearts. If justice is really inside you, no matter who's in front of you, you'll be just. Even if they're unfair, you'll be fair. Love is the same. If love is inside you, it doesn't matter who's in front of you. Even if they're not nice, love just comes out of you because that's who you are. So love has to become our nature. It is our nature. We just have to understand it. And this is also something that we have been taught by our imams. Do you guys remember that dua that we all read? Allahumma adkhil ala ahl al-qubur as-surur. Right? Allahumma ashfi kulla marid. Allahumma ashbi' kulla ja'i'. Right? Have you read this dua? Allahumma adkhil ala ahl al-qubur as-surur. What are you saying in this dua? You're saying, and that's one of the problems where we sometimes say something and don't really think about it. If you actually want to live according to this dua, it says, Allahumma adkhil ala ahl al-qubur. Every single person who's now in the grave, every dead person, there's no exception. God, give them happiness. Make them happy. Show mercy to them. Do you know how much love inside you should have to be able to do justice to this one line of dua that we just recite and go? Allahumma adkhil ala ahl al-qubur as-surur. Do you know some of these people which are now in their graves are the people who hurt us, who broke our heart, who are our enemies, etc. But the dua says you have to reach a level where you have this love and mercy for every single person who's passed away. Ahl al-qubur, no exception. It doesn't even say Muslim, it doesn't say Shia, Ahl al-Qubur. So the first step is to know that that is the level to go. It's in the du'as. Allahumma adkhil ala ahl al-qubur as-surur. So we have to reach a level where we want goodness for every soul, dead or alive. And that's something we're doing for ourselves, not for others. That's something we're doing for ourselves. How to grow that? One aspect of it is to know what is love. And inshallah, we'll talk about this more in our Sunday sessions. We've started these weekly sessions on Sundays called Spiritual Sundays. I'll talk about what is love, what is our nature, how to go to our true self. That's one. But the second thing, it's a meditation practice. It's a meditation practice. So the way you do it is, once when you have free time, they're not children or husband to annoy you, or I don't know, you sit down and you do this thing. It's called the loving kindness meditation. So you sit down and you start thinking of people that is so easy for you to love. Or it depends on who these people are in your life. It could be a parent, it could be a child, it could be a sibling, it could be a partner. So at first stage, you just sit down with yourself, close your beautiful eyes, and think of one or two people that you love so much. And it is so easy for you to love and to feel this love for them. So you start there. 30 seconds, 1 minute, you just stay in this love that you have for them and feel the love in your body, feel the compassion, and see, it's very beautiful. Try it. You'll naturally have a smile on your face. You're like, as you think about the people you love, you naturally start to have a smile in your face. And so after that, when you feel that, send them a good prayer, wish them well, the people you love. Then you go to the next level. You go to the next level, and people who are a level further, right? So if the first step, we send our love and well wishes for people that we truly love, in the second stage, are people who are a little bit further, maybe a cousin, maybe a friend. I like them, but not as much as my child, right? So now in the second stage, now that you still have that love that you had in the first level, you keep that with you. Now you give it to these people, to the cousin, to the friend, I don't know. And then you send them well wishes, and you sit with this. You sit with this compassion, you sit with this love for 30 seconds, a minute, and afterwards take it a level further to people that you just know. You don't have anything against them, but you don't necessarily have feelings for them. It could be a colleague at work. It could be a person, I don't know, you met in the mosque. Anyone. Someone who's neutral. You don't dislike them. You don't love them that much. Try and carry that compassion that you felt in the first two stages. Bring it for these people. And think in your mind, wouldn't it be nice if these people, I don't know them that well, but they're God's people, God's children. You know, God says, Al-Khalqu ayali, people are my family. Wouldn't it be nice if something good happened for them as well? So carry the compassion in the first level and the second level now to these people. You don't know them that well, but what's the harm? Wouldn't you be happy if something good happened to them? So send them some well wishes. And then either in that sitting or maybe in the next time, you can either, if you felt like this is a little bit difficult for you, stop there. Beautiful. Practice this for a few days. But if this part felt natural to you, like you found it easy to just show love to them, you can take it to the next level, which is maybe someone who did a little bit wrong to you, you know, like they did something smallly wrong. See, but don't push yourself. See if you can carry that love, carry that compassion that you had in previous stages now, and say, you know what, I know this person broke my heart, but it's probably because they didn't know better, right? You know, one of the things that psychology helps us to understand is that most people who end up hurting others have been hurt themselves in their childhood, or they've been in families where they haven't learned to love. This doesn't justify what they do, not at all. They should stop that. They should be healed. But it's not like, you know, most people who hurt others, it's not like at one point in their life they chose to do that, you know. It's not like when they were 24 years old, they received an application form. Do you want to be a loving person or do you want to be a hurtful person? Usually people don't choose that. It's like they haven't learned love, or, you know. So if you feel like you're ready now to carry that compassion from the third level, bring it a little bit to them, give it. If not, stop. Go and practice the previous steps a few days and then try and do that. And sometimes if you feel spiritual, one thing you can do is you can say, God, enable me, give me the love so that I can even show love to people who hurt me. And of course, inshallah, I hope that anyone who hurts you will also heal and stop hurting others, because anyone who hurts others, before that, they're hurting themselves. Okay, let me see if there are any questions. How is everyone doing? How do you remove barriers between yourself and God's love? That's a very beautiful question. I talked about this a little bit in the spiritual healing series. It's on YouTube, but inshallah I'll cover it again in our weekly Sunday, spiritual Sunday session. By the way, if you're watching this and you want to have a regular session focused on spirituality and spiritual healing, do join us on Sundays, 10:30 p.m. UK time or 10 p.m. time, UK time, every week on Sundays. Inshallah, we'll talk about that more. This one needs a little bit more of, what is it called? This one is a little bit more, it needs a little bit more time. God is the source of love. He also the source of anger. We have to know that anger, this was, by the way, a question. That was not me. I didn't say God is the source of anger. I would never say that. We have to know what causes anger, right? Anger usually is a defense mechanism, okay? And now the question is, does God need to defend himself? And unfortunately, one of the mistakes we've made is that we have pictured a God that can easily get angry, like you didn't pray, and now God will get angry at you. Or unfortunately, sometimes we use this as a kind of tool to, get children to stay in their lives. Like, if you do this, you know what will happen? God will get angry at you. No, unfortunately, all of this is wrong. All of this is wrong. See, there is a beautiful hadith that says, all the love in this world, so the love you receive from your mother, and actually this is in the hadith, it says even the love that animals show to each other. So for example, a mommy deer shows to the baby deer, a mommy panda to the baby panda, the love that we show to each other, we show to our siblings, all of these love, the love that God shows us in this world. The hadith says this is one portion of God's mercy. And the other 99 portion, you'll experience it in the hereafter. So God is very loving, God is very patient, and God won't get angry with us. Let me see if there's any other question. No, God won't get angry. So I see that the person has asked the question again. No, God won't get angry. Where can I find about Imam and friendship, life and death? I'm not sure I understand that question. Okay. How do you reconcile showing love for those that hurt you with the line in Dua Kumail where you ask God to deflect ill will of people back onto them? Actually, that's another place in which we have a wrong translation. Imam Ali doesn't say, God, if someone is plotting against me, now you go and destroy them. Please pay attention to this so we don't attribute to our imams something which is really not what they were like. Before explaining this line in Dua Kumail, because another person also asked me privately, I messaged them and explained. Before I explain that, let me tell you who Imam Ali was, so that when we're reading a line by him, we understand who's the kind of person who's talking. Imam Ali is the person who forgave his killer. This is in Nahj al-Balagha. We spoke about it in the month of Ramadan. Imam Ali, in Nahj al-Balagha, we have it. He says to his children, the person who killed me, I am going to forgive him. If I forgive him, I will get closer to God. And he forgave Ibn Muljam. This is Imam Ali. So now, look at whose line you're reading in Dua Kumail. This is the person who forgave his killer. Said, that's it, done. I forgive him. Because in forgiving Ibn Muljam is getting closer to God. This is in Nahj al-Balagha. We've discussed this in the month of Ramadan. So now you come and read in Dua Kumail, and you see that some people translate this line that Imam Ali is saying, if someone is plotting against me, oh God, go and plot against them, destroy them. Really? If he wanted God to plot against someone and hurt someone, why did he forgive his killer? Imam Ali is not like that. The whole family, these people are people of love. So what does this verse mean? See, makr doesn't mean, oh God, go and deceive them or hurt them. We have the same word even in the Quran. Okay, please pay attention. We have the same word, makr, in the Quran, in the story of Yusuf, in the story of Prophet Yusuf, ala nabiyina wa alayhi salam. All it means is that God managed the affairs, right? So, if a person is trying to plot against me, God, please design the world in a way that this plot doesn't hurt me, but not that it goes back and it hurts that person. Not at all. See, if a person is trying to hurt you, what is the best way to stop them if you don't get hurt? So God says, I will manage the affairs in a way that no matter what they're trying to do, it won't end up hurting you. And in the story of Prophet Yusuf, this is very clear. The brothers, the siblings, wanted to hurt Prophet Yusuf, but God managed the affairs in a way that what they did led to Prophet Yusuf actually taking a very high position, right? He went to the place where they took him and became a very high position there. Okay, so this is how God manages the situation. The brothers of Yusuf tried to deceive, tried to plot against him, but God wrote a bigger plan in which what they were trying to do actually played in God's game. And Yusuf ended up getting a very high position, and you know the rest of the story. So this is what Imam Ali is saying. If someone is trying to plot against me, oh, God designed the world and life in a way that actually ends up helping me. It's as easy as that. Imam does not ask God to hurt them, not at all. In fact, this is actually helping them. Because if a person is trying to hurt me, right, if God stops this, it's good for them as well. Because if they hurt me, they're going to suffer. They're going to hurt their own soul. Right? So if God stopped this, God's actually doing a favor to them. It's as simple as that. Imam Ali is not asking for anyone to get hurt. خب and دیگه I explained this دیگه. حالا about that is a very sensitive topic. Inshallah we need to have an hour time to explain that. خب الان I don't want to get into that. But I would just say, look at the behavior of the Imams and the Prophet and decide for yourself. I don't want to give any comments on that discussion. I just saw a question there. I just tell you what the Imams did and what the Imams say. Don't listen to what my opinion is. Follow the Imams. Follow the Imams, what they actually did. Okay? Follow what the Prophet did. Follow what Imam Ali did. I would only say that. I'm not going to say anything more than that. You mentioned in Shahr Ramadan that we are living our hell and heaven here right now. Yes, that's a verse of the Quran. And you mentioned that the fire is burning inside of us. For example, when we get angry. Yes. How would God's justice to be served to a murderer? Okay, I don't. Is it enough that they're living their hell here? Okay, see, it's one of the things that we need to bear in mind is that we always, when we are thinking about God's love, okay, we see ourselves in a very safe position, and then we start worrying about others, right? Every single time I say that God is loving, the source of all our problems is inside us, someone says, okay, what about that person? He did something. If he's forgiven, what happens to God's justice? First thing we need to bear in mind is that if justice is actually going to happen, we are all in trouble. Don't think that we are safe. No. You know, the reason we think we're safe, and it's, for example, the murderer who is in trouble, is that we don't know what we've done. Do you know how much hurt we have caused till we got here? And unfortunately, we have become numb to some of the ways in which we hurt others. You know, one of the things that psychologists, especially with specialty in trauma, discuss is how smallest things can lead to traumas which changes the course of a person's life until they'll heal themselves. 40, 50 years old. Let me give you an example. You know, in the past few decades, one of the things that medicine is showing us, new scientific research in medicine, is that a lot of physical illnesses are actually body's way of coping or the consequences for the body of mental stress. Okay? This could be cancer. This could be so many things. Chronic pains. And so let me tell you one example so that you see if God wants to be just, we're all in trouble. So it's not the murderer who's only you should worry about, Gaza. I was just reading about the case of this lady who had massive cancer growth. I think she was in stage 4 of cancer, very serious condition. Organs were failing one by one. And she goes into coma. And in her coma, she says that she goes into this weird stage. We don't exactly know what it is. She says, I was in this weird stage of consciousness where I suddenly had like a very massive awareness of my main problem in life, which was that I had a terrible relationship with my father. So she says, I realized that throughout my life, she was maybe in her 30s, 40s, I don't know exactly. From childhood, I didn't have a good relationship with my father, so I had this sense that I failed my father. And so she said, I had carried this feeling of guilt, feeling of that father didn't love me enough with me all these years, 20 years, 30 years. And in her coma, she suddenly has an encounter with this inside herself. And this is not strange. We've had other people in drug-induced conditions to have these kind of experiences. Anyway, so she realizes this, and through some way she heals this. She finds a way to heal this after she comes out of coma. She reconciles her relationship with her father. Would you believe it that in a matter of few weeks, her tumor started healing? Crazy. The doctors were shocked, etc. So they did a lot of research on her. And this is only one of the cases in which you can see a father's relationship with her daughter 30 years later led to her cancer. And we carry on this stress with us, you know. Now, why am I sharing this with you? So that you and I don't think we're lovely, dovely people. Sometimes I'm tired, I come home, my daughter is there. Maybe I don't give her the attention she needs, or maybe I don't let her know she's loved. She can carry this for 20 years, 30 years. We don't know what hurt we do to other people, right? A teacher, maybe a teacher's had a bad day. I'm not blaming anyone. But the thing is, our words do crazy damages to people. Look at serial killers. When you look at their childhood, you see it's usually a bad parent there, or a situation in which someone, it's not like anyone, sometimes there is abuse, but sometimes there's just neglect. And neglect does something to this person that in 10 years, 20 years, they turn into God knows what. So we are also hurting a lot of people. If we really want justice, don't think about the murderer. If there's justice, all the people whose heart we broke, all the times we shouted, all of that. Do you want to account for all of that? No. So don't worry too much about justice in the world, because if everything people do is going to be counted, we are all in big trouble. So that's one thing. Second thing, when we say God forgives, no one should despair of God's forgiveness. You have to bear in mind, it's not that a person will be forgiven with all the naughty things they're doing, right? It's not like here. So for example, in this world, when a person, let's say, is naughty in school and they forgive them, say, okay, you're naughty, come in. You know what? Come back to the school. You're not suspended. Well, the person is the same person he was or she was. But God's forgiveness is not like that. God's forgiveness is actually healing. So when God forgives someone, God makes sure that quality is removed from them, right? Because all of us, we have a pure soul, God-given beautiful soul, which can never be corrupted. Fitrat Allah. Our fitra is given by God and will never change. Will never change. It will always remain pure and beautiful. We can add garbage on top of it, but we can never turn it into garbage. So when God forgives someone, if they're truly forgiven, all the garbage is removed. So no murderer will be forgiven. But no person, for example, jealous person will be forgiven. But a jealous person will heal. their jealousy will be removed and they would be forgiven, right? So that's the thing. It's not that with their jealousy they'll go to heaven. No, they will be cured of their jealousy, cured of their anger, right? Cured of whatever bad thing they have, and then they become beautiful. And for example, Hur in the story of Karbala, Hur ibn Riyah, he was a person who had done so much harm, but once he was healed, he became so beautiful that after all these centuries, Shias every year remember him, right? So, but now we don't remember him because of the bad things he did. No, he's healed of that, and when he's healed of that, he's the most beautiful person in the world, right? So when a person gets healed, they're a different person. How can we be more aware of the damage we cause without realizing? SubhanAllah. I think the only way to do that is to become more mindful and conscious. We have to live consciously. Inshallah, actually, if you're with us this Sunday, I'm going to talk about shifting from a compulsive life to a conscious life. Okay? Unfortunately, right now, a lot of the things we do, a lot of the things we say, a lot of the relationships we have are in a way like an autopilot kind of situation. We hear something, we say something, right? We're reacting. Masalan, if someone says something bad to me, I say something bad to them. So in that way, you're not really using that much your free will. If a person is rude to me and I'm rude back at them, and they ask you, why are you rude? They say, well, they were rude to me. So that means you let go of your free will. Their action decided what you do. Okay? So in life, there are a lot of ways in which we are not using our free will. We're not living consciously. We feel tired, we behave a certain way. We feel excited, we say certain things. We feel angry, we say certain things. All of these means that we're not conscious. What I mean by conscious, this idea that anything that is coming out of my mouth or any action, any thought, I decide for that to go into the world, okay? In other words, I stand at the gate of my being. And I make sure before anything leaves the gate, I give it the green light. If I want to say something to a person, I first check, is this something that adds anything to this situation? Will this make people happy? Will this dissolve conflicts? Will this dissolve? Or am I just saying it because I'm excited? Well, although there's nothing wrong with saying that, but we got to make sure that, will this hurt anyone? And let me give you an example of how someone said something. And of course, I have healed this, but when this happened, I was a teenager, and you know how you are as a teenager, right? This stayed with me, what a person said, without any bad intention, but it stayed with me for years till I healed it. What happened was that in my family, it was very normal, because I've got a sibling who's 4 years older than me, my beautiful brother Reza, by the way, whose birthday is tomorrow. So it was very natural for me to wear his shirts, because we were the same size. And sometimes when he wore a shirt, I would just wash it and use it myself, right? And apparently that was what was happening when I was a child as well, because I see a lot of our childhood photos, I'm wearing exactly the same thing he was wearing. Anyways, one day I was excited. I wore one of his shirts. It was so beautiful. I'm like 14 years old. I'm so excited to wear this shirt, colorful. Person came to our house, said, Salam Javad, how are you? Oh, you're wearing Reza's shirt. You know, you can see what happened in this person's mind, right? Says Salam Javad, he sees me, he sees the shirt, recognizes it, doesn't think, should I say this, should I not? The word just jumps out, you're wearing Reza's shirt. Think before saying that. Why am I saying that? Like, did they think, I don't know, this is my brother's shirt? What were they trying to add to the situation? And will you believe it that stayed with me for many years, that embarrassment from that moment until I healed it. So this is it. When we want to say something, we should be conscious. Why am I saying that? You know, so that's one thing which is very important. And another thing that can help us hurt people less, you know, is to change ourselves. The more we become close to our true nature is loving. Okay, the more you go closer to your true nature, love becomes more natural to you. So at that point it's easier. You don't need to try that much to control what you're saying. The more you get closer to your true self, naturally what comes out of you is nicer. In the same way that a mother, usually, of course, I'm talking about previous generations, although no disrespect to current generations, but I'm talking about myself. I know that I'm nothing like my parents. They were a different breed in their love. Look, a person like my mother, love is so natural to her, especially with regards to, although with everyone, that she doesn't need that much to control what she's saying. So the more you become loving, the more you become soft, the more you become gentle, anything that comes out of you becomes also soft, gentle, beautiful, less harsh. And so that's also another way. So one is to be conscious, and the other one is to keep going to your true self, your loving self. And this is why we have so much of ahadith in our religion about husnul khulq. God knows how many hadith we have, beautiful souls, about the best thing in a mu'min is their nice behavior. The worst thing in a person is their su'ul khulq. Being harsh, being grumpy, scratching people's hearts with our words. So the more we go to... Okay, that's like when Iraqi moms tell girls they have gained weight. Oh my God. I haven't had an Iraqi mom, although now I have an amazing Iraqi mother-in-law, but God, the amount of people who used to tell me as a kid I've gained weight, it's very interesting. Sometimes I think, what is happening in people's minds? Like, they see you, the first thing they say is, you've gained weight. And I'm like, do you think I don't know that? Do you think that my mirror is faulty at home? I can't afford a scale? I know that I've gained weight. Thank you so much. But yeah, even in Jose, I remember, because my weight had a lot of fluctuations, and people made sure Yeah, that's so true. We say a lot of things, and we don't mean. That's the sad part of it. It's not like anyone means to hurt, but hurt happens, right? Hurt happens. And so that's why we have to be very careful. And actually, that's why one of the things they say, qualities about the Prophet, was that his words were the softest, right? Because a lot of us now also, we don't want to hurt, but inevitably we hurt, right? Unintentionally. But they say the Prophet's words were so soft, right? Soft on the heart. He wouldn't hurt you. So that's a beautiful quality to have as a parent, as a friend, as a colleague, as a whatever, as an anything, really. Okay, so we're getting close, or maybe we have even passed, by the looks of it, the time of Maghrib prayer here. How can a fellow brother in Islam get a faith that fresh? Alhamdulillah alladhi hadani Zahra. Thanks to my wife. She has been so kind to give me this haircut, so I have to thank her for the fresh faith. So okay, I don't want to take more of your time, so inshallah join us. I mainly came to say join us this Sunday, but I ended up talking for about 1 hour. It's just how much I enjoy talking to you. It's your fault. Why are you so amazing? So anyways, inshallah, if you want, join us this Sunday for our Spiritual Sundays weekly session. And inshallah, this week we're going to be talking about how to be in control of our desires so that we can enjoy life, be involved in life, but not get entangled, not suffer. So maximum benefit from life and God's bounties without suffering, without getting too much entangled in something that can create side effects. So inshallah, what time this Sunday? This Sunday, inshallah, either 10 p.m. UK time or 10:30 UK time. So inshallah, on that time. Take care of yourself. Yes, 10 p.m. UK time or 10:30. Inshallah, we'll announce it on the day, but definitely 10 to 10:30. And if you haven't checked the first episode, you can now go to YouTube and watch the first episode. So the link is also in the bio. And will today's session be on YouTube? Is it worth it? I don't know. Should we put it on YouTube? Up to you. Let's have a poll right now. Should we put this on YouTube? The Sunday one definitely will be on YouTube, okay? The Sunday ones will definitely be on YouTube, but this one, it's up to you. If you think it's beneficial, we can put it on YouTube as well. I guess this means yes. Perfect. Okay, so inshallah, I'll put this one on YouTube as well. And I see you on Sunday. Take care of your beautiful selves. That's it. Let me just end with that hadith from Imam Sadiq, because that hadith was the inspiration for everything we discussed today. And the hadith was this: when two Muslims see each other, the one who has more love for the other one is the better of the two. Okay? May Allah help us to find our true self, our loving nature, because once we find that, love would pour out of us no matter who's in front of us. Take care of yourselves. Love you from the bottom and the core of my heart. Take care of yourself. See you on Sundays, and ma'as salama.